I'm Mike Flannery, along with John Drummond. Mike Parker has the night off. Leading our news at 5:30, a 24-year-old woman lies in a coma tonight, the victim of an execution-style shooting apparently near her home on the Gold Coast. Dana Feitler was a junior executive at Continental Illinois National Bank, about to begin a prestigious MBA program. But tonight she is struggling to survive. Elizabeth Vargas has a report.
The yellow crime scene ribbon is the only sign left of the violence in this alley early this morning. Someone shot 24-year-old Dana Feitler in the head and left her to die. Pat Russell heard the gunshot around 2 o'clock this morning behind her living room window.
It didn't sound like it was right out and back. It sounded like it was quite a bit away, so I just ignored it and went back to bed.
Police say Dana Feitler returned home to her Gold Coast apartment at 1446 North Dearborn around 1:45 this morning. She was in the building vestibule checking her mail when detectives say her assailants entered through the unlocked door.
What we think happened is the guy confronted her with a weapon, probably told her that this is a stick-up. She said, "I don't have any money, but I have a gas station card. Please don't hurt me."
Police say Dana's assailants walked her to a nearby cash station where she withdrew a total of $400 and gave it to them. Detectives think the assailants then forced Dana into an alley where they shot her once in the head. Dr. Peter Giannaris says the gunshot was point blank.
Someone was really shooting to kill or shooting at close range. Okay. Bullet entered at a very critical area and certainly did a lot of damage.
Dana's apartment was in an affluent neighborhood near the busy Rush Street area. Friends say she was to start graduate classes at the University of Chicago next week and had reportedly spent the day looking for a new apartment closer to the school. Many here say they're shaken by last night's attack.
We've lived down in Lincoln Park like 9 years now. Never anything quite that grisly. But seen muggings and stuff back here, but never anybody blown away.
At this hour, Dana Feitler is here at Northwestern Hospital in critical condition. She is in a coma, and doctors say she has severe brain damage and that she may never awaken. Now, police are looking for 3 men who were seen in the area around the time of the attack. All 3 men are black, in their late teens or early 20s. One of them was wearing a bright red baseball cap and a large gold Cadillac medallion around his neck. If you think you saw those 3 men or Dana Feitler last night, please call police. Your information may help lead to an arrest. Reporting live from Northwestern Memorial Hospital, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. John, Mike, back to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And actually, we have the phone number at which the police would like you to call them if indeed you think you can lead them to the suspects. They ask that you call 744-8261. Once more, that is 744-8261.
Mike, a Chicago teenager is paralyzed from the waist down tonight after being shot outside the Six Flags amusement park in Gurnee.
Weekend News.
Good evening, I'm John Drummond.
And I'm Mike Flannery. Mike Parker has the night off. Leading our news tonight at 10, a brutal shooting in the posh Gold Coast neighborhood that has a young woman struggling tonight to survive. She is in critical condition in a coma. Police say robbers shot her in the head at point-blank range. As Elizabeth Vargas reports, whoever did it is still on the loose tonight.
The yellow crime scene ribbon is the only sign left of the violence in this alley early this morning. Someone shot 24-year-old Dana Feitler in the head and left her here to die. Neighbors heard the gunshot about 2 o'clock this morning, but thought nothing of it.
It didn't sound like it was right out and back. It sounded like it was quite a bit away, so I just ignored it and went back to bed.
Police say Dana Feitler returned home to her Gold Coast apartment at 1446 North Dearborn around 1:45 this morning. She was in the building vestibule checking her mail when detectives say her assailants entered through the unlocked door.
What we think happened is the guy confronted her with a weapon, probably told her that this is a stick-up. She said, "I don't have any money, but I have a gas station card. Please don't hurt me."
Police say Dana's assailants walked her to a nearby cash station where she withdrew a total of $400 and gave it to them. Detectives think the assailants then forced Dana into an alley where they shot her once in the head. Dr. Peter Giannaris says the gunshot was point blank.
Someone was really shooting to kill or shooting at close range. Okay. Bullet entered at a very critical area and certainly did a lot of damage.
Dana's apartment was in an affluent neighborhood near the busy Rush Street area. She recently had quit her job as a junior executive at the Continental Bank. Friends say she was to start an MBA program at the University of Chicago next week and had reportedly spent the day looking for a new apartment closer to the school. Many here say they're shaken by last night's attack.
I've lived down in Lincoln Park like 9 years now, and never anything quite that grisly. But seen muggings and stuff back here, but never anybody blown away.
At this hour, Dana Feitler is still in critical condition with severe brain damage. Her family has arrived from Wisconsin and is here with her at the hospital. They are offering a $10,000 award for anyone with information leading to the arrest and conviction of Dana's assailants. Now, police tonight are also looking for 3 young men who were seen in the area at the time of the attack. The 3 are black, in their late teens or early 20s. One was wearing a Cubs baseball cap and a large gold medallion around his neck. The other a blue and orange ski jacket. Police want anyone with any information to please call. Reporting live at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. John, Mike.
Well, Elizabeth, police apparently believe there may have been a number of witnesses in that neighborhood at the time of the shooting, and they ask that if you do have some information, if you think you might have seen something, call them at 744-8261. That's 744-8261.
Mike, a Chicago teenager, is paralyzed from the waist down after rival gang members opened fire on him outside Six Flags amusement park in Gurnee.
This is First Edition.
Good afternoon, I'm Adele Arakawa.
And I'm Lester Holt. A young woman hangs on for dear life as the search for her attackers intensifies.
Dana Feitler was the victim of a brutal attack early Sunday morning right near her apartment on the Gold Coast. But tonight, a disappointing discovery. Police found they will have to solve the crime without a key piece of evidence. We have a report from Elizabeth Vargas.
24-year-old Dana Feitler had everything going for her. She is a bright student and was set to start a prestigious MBA program at the University of Chicago today. Her friends say they are shocked to learn Dana may never recover from her coma.
It's just a shame. She's such a bright person and a lovely, beautiful person, and I don't say that about many people.
Maria Schreiber is a close friend of Dana's. She also lived in the same apartment building Dana was attacked in early Sunday morning. Dana's date had just watched her go through the first set of unlocked doors before driving away. Police say that's when Dana's assailants attacked her in the vestibule and then forced her to walk to a cash machine and withdraw money.
I think she would have been fairly calm about it. I think she would have really felt that, hey, they really need the money and I'll give it to them and I'll be left alone.
Police had hoped the camera in the cash machine would have gotten pictures of Dana's attackers, but the film developed today only shows Dana.
We were hoping that this might be able to delineate somebody that may have been in her company, but the nature of the premises is such that it only photographs that person that's standing in front of the camera at the time of the withdrawal.
Police say whoever robbed Dana took her to an alley and shot her once in the head, execution style. Doctors say the woman suffered severe brain damage and is still in a coma today, but has improved slightly.
Her neurologic function is one step better today than it was yesterday. But those are still rather small increments and relative to the real question of whether she'll wake up and function normally.
While doctors are encouraged with Dana's progress today, she must make a lot more progress if she is ever to awaken from the coma and lead a normal life. In the meantime, police are asking for help from anybody who might have seen Dana the night of the attack. She was wearing a pink blouse, a navy sweater, flowered shorts, and white sneakers. If you think you saw Dana walking to the cash machine on North Clark Street or walking around the 1300 to 1500 blocks of North Dearborn, please call police. Reporting live from Area 6 headquarters, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Adele, Lester.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
A teenager from suburban Barrington now admits he helped murder the father of a friend. 16-year-old Mark Wingham, seen here at a bond hearing, says he stood by and watched as his friend Tracy Braun used a shotgun to kill his father in
On Wednesday, we climb into the upper 80s, might even hit 90 there with sunny, humid conditions. The rest of the week shows actually a slight cool down with partly sunny skies, only in the 80s Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Bill and Walter?
Larry, Chicago police are suffering a setback in that shooting investigation of Dana Feitler. She's the 24-year-old woman who was shot in the head by robbers over this past weekend near her home on the Gold Coast. As Elizabeth Vargas now reports, police were hoping that a photograph might have led them to the robbers.
Detectives say they know what happened in this alley early Sunday morning. They just don't know who the killers are. Someone shot 24-year-old Dana Feitler once in the head, point blank, after robbing her at a nearby cash station. Police were disappointed to learn today the cash station camera film shows only Dana.
When you walk in and you stand in front of the device, it photographs that person making the withdrawal. We were hoping that this might be able to delineate somebody that may have been in her company, but the nature of the premises is such that it only photographs that person that's standing in front of the camera.
Detectives say Dana's attackers surprised her in her apartment building vestibule at about 1:30 Sunday morning. She was checking her mail. Her date had just dropped her off and watched her enter the lighted lobby. Police think Dana's attackers led her to the cash station to get money before taking her to an alley and shooting her, leaving her severely brain damaged and in a coma. Dana's friends say she was excited about starting an MBA program at the University of Chicago today. Jeff Weinman worked with her at Continental Bank.
She was very quiet, you know, when she was by herself, and real bubbly and live when she was with her friends, and she had lots of them, and a lot are pulling for it right now in a big way.
Maria Schreibner says she used to live in the same apartment building as Dana. She says she moved there because she thought it was safe.
It's the Gold Coast, and you feel very secure. The entranceway is all glass, it's well lit, and then they have the double locked doors behind there. Unfortunately, she was getting her mail and didn't get a chance to get inside.
Now, at this hour, Dana Feitler is still in critical condition here at Northwestern Hospital, still in a coma. She has made progress, doctors report. Today, for the first time, she is responding to painful stimuli. However, she is still far from awakening from that coma. In the meantime, police want anybody's help in finding Dana's attackers. If anybody saw her around the area of the cash station in 1500 North Clark Street, police would like you to call. She was wearing that night a pink blouse with a navy sweater, flowered shorts, and white sneakers. Again, call with any information. Reporting live from Northwestern Memorial Hospital, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Bill, Walter?
Thank you, Elizabeth. In China tonight, Premier Li Peng is promising to hunt down and then show no mercy toward leaders of the pro-democracy movement. Li
Live. The 10 o'clock news.
A major setback tonight in the investigation of a brutal attack on the Gold Coast. The victim, a young woman who came to Chicago to pursue a dream, only to be robbed, shot, and left for dead. Good evening. Tonight, a big disappointment for the police on the case. A piece of evidence they had counted on turns up no new clues. Meanwhile, 24-year-old Dana Feitler remains in a coma, clinging to life. A report from Elizabeth Vargas.
A group of Dana Feitler's friends visited Northwestern Hospital tonight to support her in her struggle for life.
There's a small percent of the amount of people that Dana knows and Dana touched. And it's an unbelievable tragedy, and it's something that none of us can believe.
Someone shot 24-year-old Dana Feitler in the head around 2 o'clock Sunday morning after first abducting her in her apartment lobby at 1446 North Dearborn and then robbing her of $400 they forced her to withdraw from a nearby cash machine. Police had hoped a lead in the case would come from the cash machine camera, but the film developed today showed no clues.
We were hoping that this might be able to delineate somebody that may have been in her company, but the nature of the premises is such that it only photographs that person that's standing in front of the camera at the time of the withdrawal.
Dana Feitler lived in a Gold Coast neighborhood that many of her friends considered safe. She had recently quit her job at Continental Bank, and friends say she was excited to start her MBA program at the University of Chicago today.
It's just a shame. She's such a bright person and a lovely, beautiful person, and I don't say that about many people.
Dana's friends left the hospital encouraged tonight. They say Dana's moving her arms and legs frequently now, and that her family is optimistic about her progress. But doctors still say Dana Feitler is far from recovery.
Her neurologic function is one step better today than it was yesterday, but those are still rather small increments and relative to the real question of whether she'll wake up and function normally.
Dana Feitler's friends say they will help her family keep their vigil at the hospital and pray Dana will awaken and recover. Elizabeth Vargas, Channel 2 News.
Police are asking anyone who thinks they saw Ms. Feitler early Sunday morning to please call 744-8277. She is 5'5", 116 pounds. She was wearing a pink blouse, a blue sweater, multicolored shorts, and white sneakers.
A teenage boy from Barrington is pleading guilty to conspiring to kill the father of a friend. 16-year-old Mark Wiggum says he stood by and watched as his friend Roger Braun shot his sleeping father. on murder charges. The Illinois Supreme Court today upheld
the 5 o'clock news.
A young woman on Chicago's Gold Coast about to begin a prestigious graduate program at the University of Chicago. She's robbed, shot, and left to die. Tonight, police believe they have an important new clue in the search for her killer. Good evening. It is 5 o'clock in Chicago. Our top story is what could be a big break in the Dana Feitler murder case. Chicago police have just released a new sketch, they say, of a man who committed a very similar crime. We have a report from Elizabeth Vargas.
Police say this suspect robbed a 24-year-old man 12 days before Dana Feitler was robbed and shot in the head. Both robberies happened after midnight on North Clark Street, within blocks of each other. Both involved a .22 caliber gun. Both happened after the victims visited a cash station. And most importantly, both victims lived in the same apartment building on 1446 North Dearborn. Commander Bill Callahan would not identify the victim, but said the man withdrew some cash on June 6th and started walking home.
He left the gas station. He felt that he was being followed right away from the gas station. He noticed two people behind him. Half a block away from the gas station, he was accosted and confronted by these two people, and they did say this is a stick-up. They took his wallet.
That's where the connection may be. The suspects kept the wallet with the victim's name and address. There is speculation the suspects may have gone to that apartment building on 1400 North Dearborn looking for their first victim when 24-year-old Dana Feitler came home. Police say she was standing in the unsecured lobby of her building late at night reading her mail when her attackers surprised her, led her to a nearby cash station and robbed her, and then forced her into an alley where they shot her in the head execution style. The man police say may be involved in both crimes is black, 18 to 22 years old, 5'9", 165 pounds, with a muscular build, short hair, and a distinctive scar on his face.
He's on the left side of his face, and it's in the shaving line right next to the ear. It looks like, to him, it was a scar from maybe a knife.
Now, police plan on showing the drawing of this suspect to the witness who saw three men fleeing the alley where Dana Feitler was shot and left for dead on June 18th. They want anyone who may have seen that suspect shown in the drawing just now to call them at 744-8251. That's 744-8251. Detectives are still working to develop some sort of real hard leads in this case. They say it is worth reminding the public the family has offered a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Dana Feitler's killers. Reporting live at Area 6 Police Headquarters, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Back to you in the newsroom.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Another big story in Chicago tonight, a Channel 2 News exclusive. Sources are telling Channel 2 News that by September 1st, the school board fully expects to have a new superintendent of schools.
Building. Elizabeth Vargas, Channel 2 News.
Okay, Elizabeth, Mr. Valukas, thank you.
After months of waiting, police may be close to solving the murder case of Dana Feitler. A suspect is being questioned in connection with the deadly attack. The 21-year-old graduate student was shot in the back of the head last June after withdrawing money from an automatic teller machine on the near north side. Police say they believe she was robbed before being taken to an alley in the 1300 block of North Dearborn and shot. Our Phil Ponce is at Area 6 Police Headquarters now with the latest on the investigation. Phil?
Adele, as you mentioned, there had been no resolution of this case for 4 months, but now it looks like there might be some movement. We're told that police have a suspect in custody and that there has been a lineup. The suspect was taken into custody yesterday. The lineup was conducted earlier this afternoon. Police are saying very little. In fact, they're being very tight-lipped. We can't, for example, confirm the name of the suspect, but it's our understanding that the results of the lineup are now being reviewed by the Felony Review Unit at 11th and State downtown, and at this point it looks like a decision regarding a charge could be coming down within the next few hours. Reporting live from Area 6 Headquarters, Phil Ponce, Channel 2 News. Back to you in the newsroom.
Thank you, Phil.
4 people are in custody this hour after a major heroin bust near O'Hare Airport.
At this hour, Robinson remains in the lockup at the Dirksen Federal Building, awaiting a bond hearing before a U.S. magistrate. John?
John, another big story in Chicago tonight. A suspect is being questioned at this hour in connection with the death of 21-year-old Dana Feitler, who was murdered earlier this year on the Gold Coast. Our Phil Ponce right now is at Area 6 for the latest on the story. Phil?
John, it's been 4 months since Feitler's death, and now we're told that police do have a suspect in custody and that there has been a lineup. The lineup was conducted earlier this afternoon, and the results of the lineup, we are told, are now being reviewed. So now it looks like, finally, there might be some movement. So far, police have simply not had enough pieces of the puzzle to solve the murder of the 21-year-old graduate student. She was last seen entering the lobby of her Near North apartment building. But she was found alive but unconscious, suffering from a gunshot wound to the head in a nearby alley. She had apparently been shot at close range. But before she was shot, she had withdrawn several $100s from her account at this automatic teller machine. Police theorized the withdrawal was made under duress by the person or persons who later shot her. After lingering in a coma for 21 days, Dana Feitler was taken off life support systems and died. Police are giving out very little information. They're being very tight-lipped. This is a high-priority case, and they're being very careful. For example, they will not confirm to us the name of the suspect. There is a possibility that a decision could be made tonight regarding a possible charge against the suspect. Reporting live from Area 6 Police Headquarters, Phil Ponce, Channel 2 News. Back to you.
Thank you, Phil. 3 Chinese men and a woman have been charged with drug trafficking tonight after a massive heroin bust. Agents laid out their bounty today, 100 pounds of Asian heroin. Its street value, $40 million.
Live. The 10 o'clock news.
A crime that shocked Chicago with its violence and has baffled police for months. But tonight, police may have finally cracked the murder case of Dana Feitler. Good evening. A man faces murder and armed robbery charges tonight for allegedly shooting Feitler after she withdrew money from a Gold Coast cash machine. Jennifer McLogan reports on the big break in the case.
An intensive, all-consuming investigation tonight is dramatically winding down. This man, 34-year-old Lee Harris, formerly of Cabrini Green, police say is responsible for robbing and murdering Dana Feitler. 4 long months after her execution-style shooting on the Gold Coast, Chicago police tonight with a startling announcement.
We asked the state's attorney's office for charges, and charges were approved by the felony review office for robbery and murder.
It's almost unheard of, police say, to get a break this long after the crime. Harris reportedly began talking with street cops 14 weeks ago, and only recently did the case against him begin to unravel. A case that has sent shockwaves through the city. A woman alone on a summer night returning to her apartment building, accosted, kidnapped, taken to a cash machine, robbed, shot in the head, and left for dead in an alley behind her Dearborn Street home. Dana Feitler never came out of her coma and died 21 days later. Lee Harris has told police he was not alone that night.
According to his statement, it was their intention that night to rob somebody to get money, for drugs. That they went to that area to find a victim. That they saw Dana Feitler, they felt that she was a good victim, and they followed her into her hallway.
Channel 2 News has learned that Lee Harris has implicated 3 accomplices. The detectives feel there is a strong case against the 3, that in fact one of the 3 may have been the trigger man. The state's attorney is now reviewing the cases against them, but has not yet filed any charges against anyone but Lee Harris. So from here, Linda and Bill, the case is not yet closed.
Thank you,
Thanks, Jennifer. Local and federal law enforcement officials believe that they have dealt a crushing blow to what may be the most notorious street gang to ever operate in the Chicago area.
From Chicago's news team, live, the Channel 2 Weekend News.
Good evening, I'm Mike Parker.
And I'm John Davis.
And our top story tonight at 6, the hunt is on in the streets of Chicago for more suspects in the brutal Gold Coast murder of Dana Feitler. This comes just 1 day after the stunning announcement that police had cracked the case and arrested a suspect. That man, Lee Harris, was ordered held on $500,000 bond today on charges of murder and robbery. And police now know Harris was not working alone. 34-year-old Lee Harris has a history of crime, but nothing as brutal as the execution-style murder of Dana Feitler. He was on parole for burglary at the time of the Feitler shooting. Harris lived in Cabrini Green, and he told police he was in the area the night of the murder to rob somebody to get money for drugs. Harris wasn't alone. Police know the names and addresses of 3 other men involved in the murder. Harris began talking to police 14 weeks ago as detectives worked around the clock to find the killers. Slowly, police unraveled Harris's story. Feitler, 24 years old, returned home alone one summer night. She was accosted, kidnapped in the lobby of her apartment, taken to a cash machine, forced to withdraw $400, and then shot in the head in an alley behind her Dearborn Street home and left for dead. Feitler died 21 days later. For people in the Gold Coast shocked by the brutal crime, this big break in the case is a big relief.
The neighborhood has been very upset by that, and that was only one instance among a lot of instances of violence around here.
I think they're trying to get things back together, really. There never was a problem here for a long time. This is most recent.
Police say despite the new developments, they still don't know who pulled the trigger on Feitler and why.
The case is by no means closed. We do believe that there were other individuals there, and we are still investigating it.
Those other suspects all reportedly live in Chicago's Cabrini Green housing project and all reportedly have gang affiliations. John?
Mike, Chicago police say they have caught the man responsible for a series of rapes and robberies in downtown hotels earlier this month. During the manhunt, officers released this drawing of the suspect. Police say the man would lurk in downtown hotel lobbies.
Williams has reportedly confessed tonight to 2 counts of sexual assault and 3 counts of armed robbery. Reporting live from downtown, Aldo Gandia, back to the newsroom.
Thank you, Aldo. Bond has been sent for $500,000 tonight for a man accused of murdering Dana Feitler, and the hunt is on for more suspects. Feitler was shot in the head after she was forced to withdraw money from a Gold Coast cash station last summer. Police have charged 34-year-old Lee Harris with murder and robbery. Harris has a criminal record and was on parole for burglary at the time of the killing. Police are looking for 3 other men, including the one who pulled the trigger. The brutal killing shocked the neighborhood, and tonight residents are relieved.
The neighborhood has been very upset by that, and that was only one instance among a lot of instances of violence around here.
I think they're trying to get things back together, really. There never was a problem here for a long time. This is most recent.
Police say no one will collect the $25,000 reward offered by Feitler's parents because police cracked the case themselves.
Bond hearings will be held Monday for members of Chicago's notorious El Rucan street gang. Dozens were arrested Friday and
a very long night, so we'll stand by with more details later on. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thank you, Michael. And we have a $500,000 bond for 34-year-old Lee Harris, revoked today by a criminal court judge. Harris is accused of being one of 4 men who robbed and killed 24-year-old Dana Feitler, the graduate student who was forced to withdraw money from a cash machine and then murdered last June on the Gold Coast. Elizabeth Vargas has more.
34-year-old Lee Harris says he didn't pull the trigger. His attorney says Harris tried repeatedly to stop 3 other men from shooting Dana Feitler. But today, Judge Robert Bastone revoked Harris's bail, saying the presumption is great that he is a threat to society in Chicago and should be jailed. Harris is charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery in a case that shocked the city. On June 18th, 24-year-old Dana Feitler was abducted in the lobby of her Gold Coast apartment building, robbed of $400 at a nearby cash machine, and then shot in the head execution style in a nearby alley. The graduate student died 3 weeks later, never awakening from her coma. Police charge Harris and at least 3 other men with the killing, but they say Harris is helping their investigation.
The case is still being investigated based on evidence or information that he has given us.
But today, a public defender says Lee Harris is getting death threats for helping police. Judge Bastone immediately put Harris in protective custody, separated from the rest of the jail's inmates. Police may be close now, they tell me here at Area 6, to arresting the trigger man and the rest of his accomplices. Several police officers were patrolling the Rush Street bar area the night of the attack. That's only about 2 blocks away from where Dana Feitler lives. Those police officers have come forward in the last couple of days saying they remember seeing Lee Harris that night and may be able to help identify the rest of the people with him. Reporting live at Area 6 Police Headquarters, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Back to you in the newsroom.
Thank you, Elizabeth. World and national news tonight. The aircraft carrier USS Lexington is back in its home port after a plane crash at sea. It killed 5 men. The ship came home today. Black scorch marks and damage can be seen on the flight deck, where a student pilot lost control of his plane and crashed while attempting his first landing on a moving ship at sea.